work early. My mother used to get me up early all the time. I played sports, and I was a person who was always into making his own money. I was not a lazy kid. And so as a young man, I used to make errands to the store and, supermarket for my grandmother. She'd give me a quarter. And so once I started getting used to those quarters, I'd ask her, who knows something from the store? And so I was quite a busy guy. And then I got to be a teenager, and I mowed lawns, shoveled snow. Of course, it snows up in Philadelphia in the Northeast. I also went to supermarkets and carried women's bags to the cars and that kind of thing. So you're constantly figuring out ways to make money. And then from there, I started cutting hair. So I became a barber in college. I started cutting hair in college, and from there I started writing books, and then I started my own publishing company. And when I started my own publishing company, you didn't have a whole lot of black book writers that were writing contemporary stuff, because typically we had a lot of writers that were still talking about slavery days. And I was like, look, man, I wasn't even around during slavery days. We have to talk about what's going on with black people right now. But since you didn't have an economy for it, I had to create my own economy with black books in the early 1990s. And so I was one of the first black authors that started contemporary American black writing. And then it took off, man. Now we got hundreds of black writers, so now it's like all kind of new people coming out. But that was the germination of my career. But once I found out that a lot of individuals didn't understand entrepreneurship and how they can make their own economy and make their own income, it became very important for me to teach other individuals how you utilize different things and make sure that you can make money. And it all starts with hustle. And so over time, I wanted to teach other African Americans how to create their own, economy. And I came up with this concept called the equation. And the equation was based on 4 key components. And those components are the same everywhere around the world, whatever industry you're in. So those are the components that I want to introduce to you guys. And I've been talking about these same components since 1997. So it's been 13 years that I've been speaking about the equation, and it's a locked-in, guaranteed. Everybody uses it, all the successful people, and it's right there in front of our faces. So I want to talk about those 4 components: love, art, support, and business. It's only 4 components of all successful business, and that's what I'm going to come down to the island and also look at how you guys can spark your own local economy, where the people of St. Martin's are able to make money off of St. Martin's and feel good about it, instead of everybody else coming down here as tourism, because I see that happen a lot. And so it's good to be down here, and good to have a person that wants to come down and help. And so that's where I've been for years, man, trying to get the African Americans to do it. Now, we travel around to other African native people and make sure that we all can do the creative things that we're capable of doing.
What do you see in the Caribbean islands, especially, not just in Martin, but the other islands, that you think people in those countries can harness to create their own economy, rather than just depending on tourism?
Well, if you're on that island, you pretty much are the impetus of why people come there, So now it's like you got the great weather and all that kind of stuff, so you have to utilize that and say, okay, this is our island. So if you're coming to our island, how can we figure out ways, to make sure that you leave with pieces of our island? So now you have to identify who are we and what can we sell the world particularly, okay? So each time that somebody's coming into your house, you say, well, okay, what do I have in my house that people can take away? So then you got your food, you got your artwork, you have your certain speak, you have your stories, you have all these things that's in your house. And that person leaves your house, you want that person to say, hey, we had some good food, we had some this, and so you guys have to look at everything you have on your island and say, how many different things can we, pitch and sell that we own, you see, where they're not stripping our island, they're always coming to us to get it. So that's the things that we always have to look at. And big cities, they're always able to do that. You start talking about my hometown of Philadelphia, New York, D.C., Baltimore. When you come to our cities, you're not taking anything from us. We're going to give you something that you're going to take back home and say, hey, I love Baltimore because of this. I love New Orleans because of that. I love L.A. And so you have to do the same thing here, where we come to St. Martin's, you leave with something. And so you have to create as many things as you can to make sure they leave with something. And so you want to make sure that all the things that you guys have that people can be interested in, you manufacture them things and you have them and you keep them going. You got to keep them going, because once they get bored, oh, I had it already. And so you constantly have to refresh the things that you're doing, and that's with any big nation. They're constantly redoing. China right now is mad with all the different ideas that China's coming up with. And so you have to always think about, how can we make St. Martin's popular again? And popular again every new year. It's like, okay, what do I have to do this year to make sure that we're competing with the other islands? You know what I mean? And people want to come here specifically. And so you always want to end up what they call it rebranding. You know what I mean? Renaming yourself, you know, redoing something. And so that's pretty much it. I wrote 19 books in 18 years because I always had to have new product. And that's how you have to look at your island. What is our new product this year? Can we come up with some new spices for our food? Can we come up with some new t-shirts, some new hats, some new clothing lines? Every year. And that's what makes any country profitable. You know, when people are constantly coming to you, you have to have something different that they can come away with, where they can keep coming and come each year and say, what do you have this year? And that's what you guys have to be very cognizant of. How can we keep creating things that the people want to buy from us?
Yeah. Finally, how do you think that you know, Caribbean people in general can what they can use as a motivating factor to continue to you know, stay in business? Because it's not always easy, and there are challenges, especially in this part of the world, where all the resources are sometimes not readily available, or we think that they're not readily available.
Right.
What are some of the motivating factors?
Well, I think you use that word right there, motivated. You got to be motivated. You got to, you know, I was saying earlier, you know, that sometimes individuals taking their time, you know, the islands, hey, we take our time here. And I tell you this quick story. When I was going to the grocery stores, first of all, we had to go there early in the morning. Because if you got 50 kids that want to go to the grocery stores and make a couple of dollars carrying bags, you got to beat those kids there. You know, so once you beat them there, the longer it takes you to carry a bag, the more business you're going to lose because other kids carrying bags. So we got there early, we carried bags fast, and we tried to make as much as we could before the other kids got there. And so when you talk about motivation, you have to be up early, bright, thinking all the time. You can't lay back and relax. And so it's almost like the nature of the island kind of factors you out. If you want to wake up, you know, 12 in the afternoon and just chill, it's like you can sell that. Hey, we chill on this island, but you got to be moving. You know what I mean? You got to make those things move. And so it's the whole psychology of the hustle. You got to speed up some things. And so the new generation of kids in St. Martin's, they're going to have to learn speed. You know what I mean? Then you can chill after you did your work. You know, so how about getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, making all your money and doing all the things you need to do up to about 2 o'clock, and then chilling. You know, but you're going to have to get that growth spark, and they're going to have that, man. You got to spark it early so people can see that hustle and that grind, and then you get used to it. And once you get used to it, it's addictive. Now you always getting up and you're always thinking. You see what I'm talking about? But if you're used to relaxing and sitting back, and you get used to that, and then when it's time to do something, it's like, oh man, we don't feel like it. We're just chilling today. Hey, we were chilling yesterday, and we were chilling the day before that. And so yeah, motivation is the main word. You have to be motivated to stay busy, and that's the key word of business. It's busy. You know, and so busy people, you call them up. Hey man, are you busy? Because you know, if they're busy, you want to know, do I have 2 minutes to talk to you? You see, and so you always want to have that idea of we're doing things constantly that are going to keep ourselves profitable. They're going to keep different ideas coming in. That's going to attract people to us because they can see the businesses that we have. And so that's what you always have to think about when you're talking about motivation. You want to get those kids who are already fast moving, fast thinking, and put them in a group. And then let them be the leaders of the other kids and say, wow, they're getting a whole lot done. We want to be like those guys. And so you want to go ahead and create those type of fast groups. And that's the same thing I teach in America with teacher development. You want to let the leaders lead. And it's going to be with speed. Because now you're dealing with a global economy where the fastest are the ones winning everything. We got a daggone World Cup in soccer coming up. And it's going to be the guys with speed. The fastest dudes, they can get that daggone puck and skills. You know, so you got to work harder, you got to work longer, and you got to be wanting to win. You know what I mean? So that's what it is, man. And you got to teach the younger guys and the people who are like that. You want to get other people to have like minds and get them all together. And then all the people that, you know, are working fast and actively.